Everybody.
Alright, well, that will put me up to max
Nah,
number.
I got my wrist and then pestered you guys all for like 8 hours straight. So yeah.
I'm going to go stealth-modo with my cursor. All right. And we will, unless there are questions and etc. Before today's game, we will just proceed to start. I hear no questions, and so we shall go. The combat finally over. The statues lay crumpled at your feet, the wraith having departed to locations unknown. The surroundings now looted of their contents. Finally, after some additional 5 hours rest, time. Let me double check the timing. It is 9:57 in the morn. Clear skies, 52 degrees, and currently sandwiched between two mountain ridges in a valley. You are on a road winding through a mountain path, heading due west on the only road that exists between you and a valley some mile below. A somewhat sheer cliff, although it's comfortable in its width, about 10 feet at its narrowest junctures, and about 25 for most of the time. So it doesn't feel like you're constantly going to fall off or anything. The path continues winding towards the west, where you hope, at the end of this range, you'll catch up with the carriages that you're pursuing. Sorry, the carts that you're pursuing. Led by the cult leader. And so, packing up your camp and setting your eyes on the horizon, you begin your walk again upslope in the Rocky Mountains. Who shall be leading the party?
I think I'm designated.
I think we had Vincent, yeah, because we're tracking.
Right. And we want to go here. All right. So you begin. I'll manually adjust ever so often, because there is technically only one path through. In fact, we'll just do it this way. A couple of hours pass, and you make your way over a winding, slow brook, stopping for a few moments to refuel your water skins, and then proceed heading towards. The trees here are sparse and somewhat tall. The bottom branches neatly snapped off and chewed by the local fauna, which shyly gazes at you, either between craggy rock or on craggy rock in the case of the numerous white-furred goats that stare at you, chewing various things from their perches that are only inches wide. Some more hours pass, and the road continues to be as not quite welcoming as you have experienced. It's long, dry flats, starting to get somewhat broken up by pebble and the like. And for long, you've managed to finally acquire some good on the road in the form of a slope. It seems from here it's finally downhill, and so it won't be nearly as difficult to traverse. A relief for sure, yet still no sign of any wagon wheels and the hard-packed ground. You press on as the sun begins to sink past the mountain range, and in a few hours from then will be night. And so it is. It's around 8 o'clock now. You've made the best of a day's travel. Excuse me. There we go. And as you begin scouting for a location for tonight's rest, rain. So then, I will need a survival and a stealth.
Are we doing one for the party for both of those?
Yes.
And who's doing stealth? Marbs is?
Elect your representative,
Oh,
although one person
that's
can
what-
do both.
Yeah, I suppose I'll do it. I don't think anybody has. Huh?
No, yeah, I think Marv's is our only person with good stealth.
Uh,
Mine's plus 10, but you know, it's not as good as his.
I'm the designated rogue character, even though I'm not.
Yes. Here's how it works. Do you have high dex? You're the rogue.
I don't even have high dex is the thing.
You do?
Plus
You have
4.
No.
18.
Oh yeah, I do. I lied. I
Mark
forgot.
with
No,
18.
I forgot. I didn't start off with. I mean, I started off with a reasonable dex, but I upped it like twice. So.
That's true.
Uh,
I don't have high dex as the
Yeah.
character with the highest dex in the party.
yeah. What do you mean? I have like 32 strength. What do you mean? No.
Not very high dex at all.
He's been only striking with dex damage to conceal his strength.
yeah, I've only been using like 2% of my power this whole time.
Pitons get smashed into the ground as ropes get drug over, and a camp is quickly assembled. You've gotten used to this routine now, having spent about 2.5 weeks now on the road, of constantly setting up and then tearing down this campsite. As a result, it will take you less time now to create camps, and there is now a +3 miscellaneous bonus that will be applied to your survival and stealth skills for the time being, so long as you continue your traveling, thanks to your routine.
Question is, how did that wagon get out there in like a day to buy our goods when it takes like a week to get through this mountain?
Must have been sent out a while ago.
It's convenient.
Right.
I'll also do that for undead on our camp again.
Cool. You sanctify the ground, spreading some of your holy water, and creating an area that the undead best avoid. At least if you choose it. What sort of type would you like to consecrate this ground against?
Probably undead, unless do I know what type those sin statues were?
The sin statues were aberrations.
Yeah, I'll probably just do undead still,
Fair enough.
because we killed the statues, but not the wraith.
If I could be provided a perception for each member of the watches. Thank you very much.
Well, that's not exactly the best.
It's okay.
Could have been
It-
better.
Oh no. Okay, I thought. Okay.
Could have been
I
better.
got those numbers switched around. I thought that said +4.
Could have.
Yeah.
95% chance it could have been better.
Yeah.
All right. So you settle down in a just off the road in a small dirt patch. that's nestled between two large sloping rocky crags. Tiny little patches of grass here and there.
Is sleeping in armor that doesn't have the what is the word I'm thinking of? Priority? Hold on.
If it
Hold on.
is a non-light armor and you don't have a feat that
Property.
allows it, then you would wake up fatigued.
I'm thinking of property. I kept saying priority. Okay, so yeah, fatigued, is that like exhaustion levels?
So in Pathfinder, the fatigued state would do to you the following.
The last 2 nights I've been woken up being stabbed, and I'm unhappy about it, honestly.
That's fair. So you would take a -1 status penalty to your AC and saving throws, and can't use exploration activities performed while traveling, such as avoiding notice, defend, raise a shield, detect magic, follow the expert, hustle, investigate, repeat a spell, scout, and search.
Probably best not to have that condition.
Yeah,
then.
so we don't want to be fatigued.
Yeah. You can get runes that make armor able to sleep in, right?
Think so?
I
Think
believe
there's a
so, yeah.
property rank for it?
Mm-hmm.
No, actually, traveling does not count as an exploration activity, right?
Walking does not. However, if you want to do anything while you're walking, that would. So, for instance, if you're constantly casting detect magic, that won't happen. If you're trying to hustle, that can't happen either.
But I'm just like being fatigued does not cripple you and prevent you from moving, right?
Right.
Okay.
It can just make it much, much, much easier for you to get smacked around in combat.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so the order that I have here, unless you wish to modify it, would go Kios, Reynald, Marv, Vincent.
Yeah,
Seems good.
sounds good.
All right. We shall begin with Kios.
Yes.
Kios, how are you spending your shift tonight?
Shit, we encountered that last time where I don't really have anything to look into, right? So,
Not presently, no.
yeah, so I'll just, I don't know, meditate on the ring and keep a wary eye out.
Okay. Give me a. In fact, I'll just do it this way. None. If you would, for me, provide the following check.
The colors were a bit off on that, by the way. The background was transparent. Still could
Weird.
still could click the stuff, so that's fine.
Yep, and it looks like it worked as expected. All right, so you kind of meditate on your ring in the rain. It's kind of depressing and dour conditions, and your thoughts are pulling to what is it that you're going to encounter in this strange place of which there is no record. And I will reveal a card to you. All right, until end of session, you have this card and can deploy it at any time.
It's supposed to be a mystery card, right?
Yes, you won't know what it is until you play it.
Awesome.
Okay, cool. I wasn't sure if it would show it to you or not. If it does show you what it is, that's fine too. That is the thing that I will need to adjust, though, if it is showing you the type of card. The name, rather. It's okay if you know it's one of the fake cards.
No, it's question marks. It's all right.
Okay, cool. You can deploy that card at any time. It will have the same effect as the drawn card that we will have at 7:13. Which is to say that I will evaluate its effects and read, etc. You know the drill. There's a sense of strange ugliness that washes over you, like a buffeting sheet that blows in on the wind, smacks you across the face, and then flies off into parts unknown. You feel that there is something waiting for you at the end of this road, following the carriages. Your ring is kind of itchy. So that is what happens during your shift. It is time to awaken Reynal.
Did you say my ring was itchy?
Yep, feels itchy.
Okay.
Wait, the ring is itchy, or the finger that the ring is on is itchy?
Both, but yes.
Hmm.
The
It's
sensation
spooky.
of itchiness around the ring.
Okay.
All right. I think it's Renault next.
Yep.
Yep.
Let's see, and 2 hours and 40 minutes pass. Reynal, how are you occupying yourself?
I guess I'll meditate over the sword, Blood of Erebus.
Give me the following, if you would. Now that you're kind of sat down here amongst these mountains, the longer you're here, there's a strange sensation on the air. Kind of a... It's like you're standing on top of a pile of gravel that spreads in every direction, but in every direction it's sloping downwards.
I also didn't have a check show up if I was supposed to.
Oh, I haven't seen yet.
Ah, got it.
And you feel like you've felt this before. In fact, you have, and you can recall a clear instance. In fact, you're sitting in one such instance of it right now. This whole mountain range feels like it's been consecrated.
Huh.
It's such a thin spreading of it that it's very hard to pick up on. If you weren't an expert in the casted spell yourself and you weren't paying attention to it right now, as the Blood of Erebus is kind of trembling a little bit in your hand, you're not sure that you would have even picked up on it. It has most landscapes and sceneries that surround you are something that you could describe as inert. They're not a thing that you can pull information from, or a thing that records information. Not in the fate sense, but you sense that there's a strange alignment at work here. You think that if you were to use the Blood of Erebus on this mountain range, you might pull something from it.
And I guess I'll take a look around and then use the sword, hope nothing comes up while I'm distracted.
Fair enough. How invested do you want to be in following this sensation?
Say 70%?
70%. Okay. All right. Um, you wave your sword around like a dowsing wand. You feel the vibrations rolling over the hills. The direction it's coming from is at first indistinct. It's hard to find where it's coming from because it's just kind of spreading over such a wide area that it feels like you're trying to calculate the origin of a wave while standing at the beach. But when your sword taps against a hard surface on the hill, suddenly your vision darkens. Um, it's cold. It's so cold. They told you that it was going to be better, but it's not. It's worse. Your hunger is threatening to devour your entire lower body, and you are a sloughing slime spread across the whole surface of this place. They're
That's
prodding you
impressive.
with torches that burn your hide, and you want to snap your jaws at them, and you would, but for the icon being held in the priest's hand that holds you back. You feel every time he points that thing at you as if you just might disappear. And it's all that's keeping them alive. Day after day after day, trudging through the snow, stumbling upon rock, being forced to go first on the rocky crags. It's wearing on you. And you feel like any time you might snap. And you're back to normal. Suddenly, the rain rushes back in, and you come to your senses.
Unfortunate.
Yeah.
Spooky.
So he didn't black out as is Renault's tendency every time he does something like that.
Yeah, you're still on your feet.
I guess I'll make sure nobody's been stabbed or robbed while I was distracted and then go back to investigating it.
Everyone appears to be fine, so you tap your sword again. And again, your vision darkens. You trip, your head and jaw smashing against the hard rock as you try to desperately put your arms out to block it. Too late. They scrape, tearing off your inky black flesh as you skid to a stop, your head smashing into a what feels like a hard tableau of stone. Um, Thunder cracks above you as the man with the icon takes a couple of unwavering steps towards you, holding it out, um, pressing you on to this large circular stone surface on which rests a large statue of some Aravastian woman, her eyes smoking, and her sword on fire despite being made of stone. Um, you catch your breath for a moment, thinking on what to do next. What do you do?
Thanks.
I guess probably should ask this earlier, but what is the icon of? Do I recognize that?
You squint your eyes at it, and a number of weird. The moment that you stare at it, it's like static going off in your head, except instead of it being white noise, it's names, locations, deities, sub deities, religions, sects, cults. It's like an explosion of information that overwhelms you as you try to understand what it is. You feel your skin crawl every time you stare at it, though.
Huh. I guess the guy with the icon was pushing me towards getting onto the tableau or whatever. The like.
You look back, and in fact, yes, it's some 35 feet wide of gray, dark stone, surrounded by a small, towering circle of huge columns that stretch up into the black sky.
I guess I'll go into the circle.
You rise to your feet, and Ikor, pulling down your arms, turn your back to the man, choosing of your own will to walk in. You take 2 steps in, and then it is as if you had thrust yourself into the flow of a river of lava. Fortitude save. You snap out of it, and you feel your face is strangely hot and wet, as is your arms.
I guess I'll keep pushing to try and get into it.
Oh, you're back into the
Oh, okay.
real, quote unquote.
Huh.
The explosion of pain was a bit too much, and it threw you out. Though your face feels weird, and your arms are a little warm.
I'll see if I have a mirror or anything to try and catch a look at my face.
Not handy. There might be something back at the camp if you wanted to go look.
Yeah, I'll check, or I'll see if I have anything that's shiny enough that it works.
Yeah. Give me a dexterity. You pull out one of your swords and kind of try to use its surface to see what's going on. It's hard to see in the dim light, though. I assume that you cast light.
Yeah.
Fair enough. There is a hole in your forearm, about the size of a finger. It's about quarter of an inch deep in there, and pooling out from it is a blackish blood. And you grab at your face, and your eyes are also leaking blood.
Probably not good.
Hmm.
I'll touch the sword to the blood.
Give me a will save. You touch your sword to the blood, and it burns for a moment. And as you clench your teeth against the pain, you white out. And you arrive in the small tomb of the gravekeeper on the small hamlet to the north of the town that you began all this in.
Seeker's Call.
Not Seeker's Call.
Oh, Rockdale?
Yes, Rockdale.
Oh, okay, so we're in the tomb that we went and cleared out because the gravekeeper had gone mad?
Yeah. You're currently pressed up against the wall, as you're looking in on this chamber with a large chained coffin.
This the one that exploded and we found 14 here, right?
Yeah.
Mhm. Kios looks at you weirdly. As you kind of just stop and are examining yourself and then looking down and into this room as if you've seen it before. Hey, what's up?
Nothing.
Yeah, bullshit, he says as he points to your face. Look like you just saw a ghost.
Maybe I did. I don't know.
Crosses his arms untrustingly. His nostrils flare as he narrows his eyes and regards you a bit. Fine, whatever. Turns and he begins walking into the hole. He typical. And as he does, and Marv kind of looks down the hallway before walking in, Eric walks by and into the hole, bearing his spear as he ducks through the stony entrance.
Huh. Is Vincent there? Or...
Yeah,
Huh.
yeah, you look for him. The half Grinnin is a boot, and investigating things, kind of hanging back just in case things go wrong.
Weird. I guess I'll go into the room with him.
As you do, you blink and you're now standing there without a sword on the hill in this crevasse. The sword is dropped into the ground. Its blade stabbed into the earth now.
Are my arms still bleeding? Or
You check and the hole's gone, but there's still some blood. It's thin now from the rain, but it's still there.
I guess I'll pick up the sword then.
It feels a bit off, like it's been discharged. You don't sense any magical power in it right now. And that is what happens during your shift.
Yeah, I guess I'll wake up Marv's then.
Mhm.
Marv, it is your turn. How would you like to occupy yourself during your shift?
I suppose just, well, just I don't know, sit there and twiddle my thumbs. Really, I just keep all my or make sure all my stuff is maintained, I guess.
Fair enough. You rewrap your gauntlets, sorry, your hand wraps, after doing some basic maintenance on them. And as you're doing so, you look down the slope of this mountain range off into the horizon, and you catch something off in the distance, maybe some 20, 30 miles. They're tiny, very tiny pinpricks of light. Um, but there must be a settlement or something over there that's kind of stood on what you presumed was a mountaintop. A small one, but a mountaintop nonetheless.
What? Wait a minute. So this is 20 or 30 miles off in the distance. Wait, are we? We're in the crevasse. We're in the valley right now,
Yes,
and I'm seeing this up on a hill.
to the west,
Mm.
downwards for you.
Oh, wait. So, it, okay. I'm just trying to orient my. If we were to go one hex downward, that would be south, right?
Southwest. Yep. Map is oriented northward.
Okay, so that is the direction in which I mean, to the left is the direction in which I am seeing the city.
Uh, Generally west southwest. Yeah.
Okay. Is it
I have
along the road?
It's hard to tell. It fades off into darkness, and Yeah, it's about 1:20 in the morning, and the moons are only just starting to get back some of their reflectiveness. So it's very dark. You can't see much more than the light sources there lit, or reflections off of particularly large lakes.
Is there any other kind of signs of civilization? I mean, I know you said I couldn't really see a ton, but is there any kind of discernible outline of buildings, any kind of smoke coming off of anything as like a fire would be there, anything like that?
Further to the north, past a small, tightly packed group of mountains, um, there is, in fact, it must be a large one, but a fire going.
Hmm. Alright. I don't really have anything to write on, but I guess I'll make a note of where that is mentally.
You mentally log those for later review. But that's all that happens on your shift.
Alright.
There's some braying of wolves, but they decide that they don't really want to come by your camp and bypass you, and some goats that will shuffle around during the night. Um, Probably as a result of those wolves braying. But other than that, a unremarkable shift.
Alright. Suppose I will next wake up the next person in line and inform of them of the city on the hill. Well, alleged city on the hill.
Yeah, you don't know of any cities out here that would fit that description too.
Yeah. Some, at the very least, a few lights moving around up on a hill that are kind of interesting and were maybe worth investigating.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing as I believe it's kinda on the way, right? You said?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vincent,
Yep.
you are awoken by Marv. It is 4 in the morning, and only by the grace of your limited uh, low light vision. Um, sorry, dark vision, right? You
Yeah.
got full dark vision.
Yeah. Black and white,
Um,
but yeah.
Only by the grace of your dark vision can you discern the difference between the dark void above and the slowly creeping dawn. You've some hours to go. You guys packed it in a bit early last night, so for the first time in a while, you're going to be heading out before 10 a.m. If this shift goes all right.
But,
What would you like to be doing during your shift?
alright. I would like to riffle through my party's belongings to try to find a pen and paper, because I don't have any. No one worry about it, but I
well,
need some pen and
well,
paper.
well, I mean, okay, so is pen, I mean, I know you can buy like an ink pot and quill and
Yeah.
whatnot, but can
Yeah.
you,
Something I can write a letter with.
are miscellaneous bits and bubbles, would a paper and some writing utensil be
Like
included in that?
adventure pack or something,
Hmm.
maybe.
Yeah. Potentially.
I most likely have
Why?
some writing stuff on me. I mean, not technically, I don't have it in my inventory, but I probably brought something with
I
me.
was about to say, I mean, I'm a scribe, so I'd imagine I'd have something.
Um, for what purpose do you ask? Do you have like a feat that gives you miscellaneous bits and bubbles?
No, I mean, I just have that in my I think that's just part of a monk's, and I mean, I wasn't the one asking the question anyway, but
So I did make a item called miscellaneous bits and baubles, and what those would contain is the various knickknacks that you guys were carrying before, until those got sold off or thrown or
yeah.
eaten. Um,
Someone has pen and paper though, surely, so I'm stealing it.
Uh,
the most likely candidate from descriptions provided in characters so far would be Kios.
yeah. I have something
Except for
on me
once I
that.
just got home.
Hmm.
All right, for what purpose would you be gathering all the writing supplies? No problem. We'll get to that in just a minute. All right, let me check this real quick. Yep. Okay. We'll still go through his shift, but as it turns out, not much happened beyond what may have happened when he forced it to. So the time is now 6:30 in the morning, and you guys are packing up for the day. I presume Marv told folks about stuff he saw.
Yeah.
I'm
When
back
y'all
on my
are
bed.
Okay.
having breakfast from some caught hares that were shot. So as it turns out, there is something to the west. It's really hard to pick out because it blends into the rock surroundings. It's all gray rock, but you think the wedding sing is this over here. And you have to kind of get yourself into the same position he was sitting in order for it to not be obscured by mountains from where you are. But it looks to be a fort.
All right.
It's not one of Grenholt's. Those flags are not red.
Hmm. All right. Well, I mean, we're going that way anyway.
Vincent, what were you doing during your shift? Nothing happened, but I would like to resolve any things that may have come up.
I would like to start drafting a letter to my darling nephew to send at the next place that we can
you,
send letters at.
you are aware that you don't have to.
We have a message ring.
It's,
Never mind. I'm an idiot.
it's a nice thought. It's a nice thought to commit it to paper.
You know,
You, no, you,
but is the ring like emergency only? Is it reusable?
It once
Just
per day you use
message?
it.
Message only has a 500-foot range.
That's also true.
Sending is the one you're thinking of.
Yep.
So I would need to draft a letter then.
You could still do it because it is because it'll do message as a arcane innate. However, you can activate it if you spend a minute, and it'll send an animal messenger.
Oh, that's true. Hold on. Let me read through this. Let me
so,
read this. I remember what it actually does.
or hear me out. We could just get approximately like 400 of those rings and just place them evenly 500 feet apart.
That's true. Surely I can just reactivate the ring every day and the message will travel 500 more feet, right? That's how it works?
Right, right.
God, sending is a 5th level spell in this?
Oof.
Oh.
So what you're telling me is that this is a ring of at everyone, where at everyone you send expands the server radius.
Yep.
So yeah, you can send an animal messenger. Animal messengers can also have small objects or notes up to light bulk attached to them.
I'll write the letter and then give it to him with the animal messenger. I've already stolen the pen and paper from someone in the party. It's mine now.
I know. Wait, I got a better idea. We just attach the ring to a trebuchet or put it in, fire it at the.
That's true. Could work.
He just receives a ring. That's the message.
I would like to
Hit in the head
draft.
with a ring.
Would like to draft a letter requesting from my darling nephew, if possible, a padded armor, +1 resilient padded armor, if possible, because that's the only thing in Tui that you can sleep in that counts as armor. I'll tell him how our journey's going and just like, hey, by the way, would be real nice to have some +1 resilient padded armor. Just thought just saw some and was like, wow, that looks real nice. I'll just regale the tales of us merchanting and then being stabbed 2 nights in a row and being like, yeah, armor, yes. And then animal messenger it to him.
We require more supplies.
Would be real nice. I'm not directly asking for it, but hopefully, we'll see. And that's how I
Gonna
spend my
send you
shift.
1,000 messenger birds with just like one piece of the armor attached to them. Gotta
I'll
sew
take
it
it.
back together.
Some assembly required.
Yeah.
Huh?
That's how I spend my shift.
Okay, all right. Sure. Yeah, a tiny bird will, with blue feathers and plumage, will arc out of the sky and land on the hand um, that's holding the ring and wait for a message to be attached. And if you do so, then it will, with a flap of its wings, take off into the air and begin careening in the direction of Grinhold.
Thank you, small
Wait,
bird.
wait a minute. Does it? Does the? Why did you put who the message was from?
In fairness, there aren't many people who are going to be sending messages demanding armor to a game.
Who address him as nephew.
Yeah.
I
doesn't-
imagine there's probably only one group of people,
Yes, it's
Oh.
it's semi-anonymous. He doesn't know which of the four.
which probably actually would have been convenient considering that Vincent's a half-grin and
Yep,
probably
Yeah,
needs a bit
well.
bigger armor.
you're all half-grin-sized armor, right?
Well, I mean, unless it's like plate armor, I don't imagine it would. I mean, I know what you're saying. It's that it'd be big, but like it wouldn't have to be personally fitted, right? Unless it was that armor that required being personally fitted.
It'll look kind of funny, but it'll work.
Hmm.
Yeah.
This is how the peasantry fight in armies
Hmm.
with awkward fitting armor.
You just get like 9 billion sheets and drape them over yourself, and then it protects you against swords.
You can't hit me. My entire body is concealed with arcane scrolls that have resistance towards each individual type of weapon that I could research.
It's not even the armor is enchanted, it's just the scrolls. You just stitch the scrolls together.
They call me the walking library. All right, so that's what happens during your shift. It is morning. You guys pack up and get ready to go out on the road. And off you go down these sloping hills, winding pathways, passing through a couple of babbling brooks, and finally, after what feels like and almost nearly has been a week, let me move this out of the way real quick. You finally emerge at the end of this winding snake-like mountain range path to the grassy open fields of Grenholt, with a nearby forest waving its hello in the light wind. But this also provides a problem. Whomever is doing the survival checks to keep direction, please provide for me one more to try and pick back up the trail. For surely they must have passed through here.
I would just discovered if you have your little character sheet tab beside your skill thing, you can't can't do it. It doesn't do
Oh.
the thing.
Hmm.
I did it. I fixed it. First world problems, etc.
Okay, good. I just wanted to double check to make sure that that roll that it was giving, since it has a fist next to it, I was just making sure that you can't do survival check damage, and in fact you cannot. Um, so you spend about 10 minutes scouring the surroundings, Vincent. But with all the recent rain, and it looks like a rock slide a few days ago. If there were traces of their passage, they're not being found easily.
Unlucky. That's not good. No wagon wheels or anything? Oh, sir. No wagon wheels or
Trying to
anything?
find it, but you're not seeing any real depressions or deviations. And with all of the rain and the rock slide, it's thrown up enough dirt and rock that it's hard to even find where to begin.
Hmm. Well, I gave it the old college try, if I'm honest with you. Um, so
But you do
surely
know
they
the name.
must have come through here. You said that, right? Like,
Mhm.
there's no deviation through the mountain path. Like, it is
Yeah,
probable that they went through here.
y'all kept a sharp eye, and unless there was something hidden by magic, you found no other pass that they may have taken. It's just this one winding road that's cut through the mountain range, and they aren't particularly cheap to create.
You lost the trail like this morning, like today recently,
I don't think
or
we've had the trail since we
oh,
went into the mountains, pretty much.
Yep.
true.
Yep.
We just figured that they'd have to come out
Yeah.
this end of them.
Hmm. And on, okay. Hmm.
I mean, I guess keep on going and just
Yeah.
see if we find it, since, I mean, this road still is the only road for a little bit.
Yeah.
Check
Yeah.
maybe those lights, see if they're
Near the
related.
fort.
Yeah.
So there was a big fire creating that much light, right? Like more
Oh,
than you would expect a fort to have.
that fire is like upwards of here. It's like about 8 hexes up in that direction.
Oh, is it? Oh,
Hmm.
it's like a
The
big
big fire
forest
you saw
fire.
was like up here.
Okay, okay.
The other fires that you saw were, yeah, this thing right here.
All right.
How do you wish to proceed?
I guess we just keep going west and then maybe we find something here. If not, we just go to the fort. Is that the consensus we're going with?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't know where they were going, right? We were just following the path.
No, yeah.
Presumably, they're taking these supplies back to wherever it is that they're trying to excavate their god out
Hmm.
from.
Maybe the people at the fort could have seen them. We can go off that assumption for now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ask around there. I mean, was it just one wagon? It wasn't like a caravan, right?
Two.
Two wagons? Okay. So it's possible that they would have seen it. They came to the area with the fort.
Yeah.
All right. Then you set off. The ground finally breaking for dirt and grass, um, and into the plains below.
Um, that on that survival check that I is it something I failed or is it just it's not like there's nothing to like you can't succeed? Like, is it something I could use this on to
Oh,
retry it, or is it just like there's nothing here? You're just out of luck.
it would be one of those where you would ask me if it would apply, and I would respond yes or no.
Okay.
Hmm.
Does this apply?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Can I use that then?
Yes.
Okay.
Might not be a bad idea to use a hero point with it.
That's true. Was that +8?
Yep.
You know what? Let's go for it. Pop in the hero point, pop in the spiritual guides. We're using all the cooldowns.
Hmm.
Could have been better. Unfortunate.
You actually rolled
I
worse
actually rolled worse
with the hero point.
with the hero point. Unlucky, if I'm honest with you. Alright,
How dare you, spirits? How
it's
dare
unhelpful.
you? They tell you that you should check the mud. And you're like, okay, nope.
It's really unlucky.
um,
Ask them where the tricks are. Just say up your button around the corner.
all right. So continuing on your voyage, um, Only takes about an hour per hex now that you're out of the mountain range. It is 56 degrees with clear skies today. You can expect the moons to reach the waxing crescent phase. And there is a small river that is blocking your path here. It goes 2 hexes up north and 3 hexes down from your current position. How would you like to broach it? It's about 10 feet wide.
We can just cross it, right? We don't have a vehicle or anything with us.
Nope. All right, fair enough.
Unless
If I can get a athletics from the lowest athletics in the party.
Probably Kios then.
I don't think
Excuse
I
me,
really
bitch.
have anything for crossing 10 foot.
I'll have you know I have a
rivers.
+9 in athletics.
I do have a grappling hook. I mean, I don't know if that'd help at all, but
Is it like a fast river? Is it like rapids or?
Fate.
Yes, sorry. Please repeat.
oh,
Is it like a fast flowing river? Like, is there a danger of being washed away? Is it deep?
Give me a survival or a lore nature.
so approximately how far across does this river look?
Right,
Does
survival
lore
check's not
does
good,
lore
so-
forest count as lore nature?
I'll consider it. Yep. Okay, so here's your collective result. So you firstly just grab a piece of rock and that's kind of flat on the surface, and you just set it in the river, and it's gone. You get a big old stick, and you plunge it down to the bottom, and um, it is, despite only being 10 feet wide, it's 15 feet deep. And there is a strong current down there.
Oh, wait a minute. Does it look like it's man-made?
Now that you're looking at it, yeah.
Hmm. Maybe like a causeway or something. Uh,
I guess do we want to follow it and see if that has anything? Try and go like up or down on it.
um. Okay, I didn't. That's not what a causeway is. I thought it was. Anyway, yeah, probably.
Yeah,
Maybe.
I mean, if
can
it's
follow it.
man-made, it's got to come from somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Or go to somewhere.
Hmm.
I have a rope. Like, why not just
Go ahead.
rope across?
Yeah, we
Well,
have a grappling hook. I mean,
yeah,
we don't.
we have the means to cross, but
Yeah.
I
I mean,
mean,
it's 15 feet deep, so I don't know that we'd quite want
We
to
don't.
try and
Hmm.
cross it on foot.
Well, you just hold on to the
We
rope.
don't
That's what I'm
exactly have
saying.
a
Like, we don't have to
destination
do,
in mind. So if this.
Wait, how far can you jump with
Yeah,
a
but
leap
it's
action?
15
It's
feet
10
and
feet,
wearing
right?
armor.
10
well,
feet.
I mean, I could, I
Marvs can make that jump.
like we have the means to cross this. Yeah, let's say we have the means to cross the river, but do we need to? Is the
Yeah,
question. Like, maybe we just check what's at the end if
Yeah.
it isn't too
I
absurdly
was about to
far.
say, I mean, we lost the trail, so might as well check.
Yeah.
Do
Maybe
we?
check up first.
Do we
You
have
said
a map of this place?
This is about the quality of the map that you've got.
All right. So, do
right
we
here.
see a river on the map?
I drew it,
Right.
but no, there isn't one worth looking.
Okay.
Mm.
It's not a survey map, so unfortunately.
thinking logically, there's no way the two carts could have crossed this, right? So they either went north or south. So if we
Yeah.
follow it and find some kind of civilization, it's likely that we will get some information about, if they pass through here or
Yeah.
not.
Then what is it?
They said they
Downriver?
were,
I guess it's man-made, so wouldn't we want to go up river?
Yeah, I'd say go up since it seems man-made.
Yeah.
yeah, probably, and they said they were excavating, like the Dark God or whatever. So was it in the mountains? Like this kind of leads.
That's what we've been assuming.
It's gonna lead towards some mountains, maybe.
Yeah, and I mean planes we can travel
Yeah, this would take
relatively fast
like
on.
2 hours to go this far, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah. So let's head north along the river and see what we find.
yeah,
All right. As you guys get your stuff together and start heading up that way, there's a strange smell on the wind. It's hard to describe. It's kind of like strawberries that are overripe.
not like a strawberry wine kind of smell. It's like a
Yeah.
rotting strawberry smell, or
Kind of a rotting strawberry smell. Yeah.
hmm,
It's not like a Red Queen smell or anything like that, right?
You're not sure.
Huh.
That's not the answer that I want.
that's a bad answer. That's a
Yeah,
bad.
I guess keep your eyes open.
Get my Red
We do
Queen
have that
repellent spray.
mask of smelling good that we got from the Wraith.
That's true.
Hmm.
I could smell real good rotten strawberries for an hour.
Yeah.
You wish you hadn't, but it'll let you locate it.
I guess we'll save that for now, see if anything comes of the strawberry smell.
Yeah, it only has a 30-foot range as well, so I don't know. Well, well, how long does this last? An
Uh,
hour?
hour, I think?
Yeah, an hour, yeah.
So basically, one hex.
Maybe when we're like one hex away from where we assume the river ends, if it still smells like strawberries, we pop the mask.
Yeah, sure.
Or if maybe if it stops smelling like strawberries and we're really interested in rotting strawberries, we just backtrack with the mask on.
Fair enough. All right. So you make note of that and begin your ascent. Can I get a perception check from highest perception of party?
Uh,
Thank you.
Large, very perceptive.
Um, you are keeping an eye on the horizon as well as your feet, Brainall. And though it's a little annoying to do so, it's nonetheless something that's necessary whenever you're traveling unknown areas. Um, and you start seeing weird plants on the ground. Um, they curl up and have tiny little, almost jaw-looking things at the end of them that clamp down into tiny teeth, kind of. Most of them are closed, but some of the ones that are open have like a purplish mouth almost, and are sticky with a translucent gel.
I'll point him out to Kios, I guess, since he's the plant guy.
This one will be a lore forest or a hard survival.
So I'll run a survival on it too.
You know what this is a sign of, Kios, and you'll be quick to point out how to look for it too. Um, so everyone will gain. Hang on a moment. Um, some experience points because that will be defeating the trap. Um, everyone gains 4 experience points.
very nice.
4?
4.
Feels
Um,
good.
what this is a sign of, Kios, is a titanic flytrap, which appears to be a patch of more common flytraps, but beneath the murky waters or soft earth that it sets through rapid digestive fluids, it hides a far larger set of jaws, which reach 10 feet across and are reinforced with woody branches and are lined with paralytic hairs. Um, a lot of people, unfortunately, don't keep their eyes on their feet whenever they're traveling the murkier planes, and a lot of people die to these, unfortunately. but armed to know what they are. You know a few things about them as well. Firstly, the disable for them is a DC 22 trained survival to mislead the flytrap's sense of weight and pressure, and it will have a stealth of 25, and it will require trained perception to detect. Um, Worth noting that it resets 1 hour after it is triggered or longer after a large meal. Should you wish to try to intentionally find it, it does have an interesting toxin that you might be able to procure
Ooh,
called Titanic Flytrap Toxin.
that
It's
seems self-explanatory.
Inventive name.
Yeah.
yes. Um, it is a DC 21 Fortitude save with a max duration of 4 rounds. Stage 1 is 2d6 poison damage and stunned 1. Stage 2 is 3d6 poison damage and stunned 2. And Stage 3 is 46 poison damage and paralyzed for a round. The sneakier sort of druid and ranger often uses this to coat their arrows while hunting in forests, if they don't mind poisoning their meat. So, there's that.
Are the fly traps where the strawberry smell is coming from?
Oh, yes, as part of your lore check, I will disclose that no. In fact, they're generally odorless, the fly traps.
I
All
guess
right.
let's keep going and keep an eye out for any of those big ass fly traps.
About half-mile up, you in fact do see a large patch of little flytrap plants on the ground with flies buzzing around them. Um, but beyond, there is a tree that appears to be bleeding. And that appears to be the source of the smell.
Well, let's go look at the bleeding tree, I guess.
You advance on the tree corpse, I suppose we'll call it. And yeah, it looks like the top of the thing has been almost melted, um, like an acid has been pouring on it. But it's just the tree. The rest of the grass and surroundings are relatively unharmed. You can give me a occult or a lore um, druid.
I don't have that anymore.
You know what this is, though you don't know too much about them. Um, this, although it's currently sleeping, is what's called a living sap. Um, in fact, the tree is not bleeding, it's just kind of hung on the tree right now. It's kind of using it as a bed. Um, Things to note are that they are particularly dangerous um, and generally grab people, stuff them inside themselves, and then try to dissolve them.
That sounds fun.
Um, Worth noting that they have an adhesive body, which means that often those who are not properly armed and equipped to fight these things will come in with javelins and spears and whatnot, and they will find that they will be quickly disarmed.
Are you saying it's a mimic? That's all I'm hearing.
No,
I'm hearing mimic.
it's like a coat for the tree that eats people.
Thicky, thicky mimic tree. Okay.
Yeah. Good to note, however, that they are generally a ambush predator.
It's a mimic. Okay.
They are slow, known to generally go about 10 feet.
Okay, so just don't go near the tree, I guess, and keep following the river.
Fair enough.
It is also 7:13 for the card.
What a fortuitous time. All right, so tonight's card hides behind the forests is the Hermit.
Hello.
Hello.
The tradition of Sarin Tarot, the Hermit indicates quiet reflection, exploring abandoned paths and new opportunities on their own. This card reflects the querent's blood-seeking guidance, both spiritual and earthly, as well as introspection and a call to examine themselves more closely. Alternatively, it can mean isolation and paranoia. Rather than gaining insight, they're being led down a twisted and vicious path, which is liable to turn them similarly twisted and vicious. They may also be very lonely and are losing their grip on what's real due to the amount of time they're spending by themselves.
But that was already happening.
But now it's worse. As you kind of step back to be like, all right, we're not going to mess with that, you feel something wet on the boot of your shoe.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. You
Oh.
can ignore it if you like.
Oh, okay, I'm gonna look down at it.
Fair enough. Looks like your foot kind of sunk into the mud here a little bit, but the color is a little off.
Is it quicksand? Or is it one of those giant, fly traps that are now gonna eat me?
You see something ripple across the surface, and you realize that the entire party is standing in this.
In what? In one of the fly trap things?
Not a fly trap.
Oh. In the goop. The unknown, not mud.
Yes, it's too red to be mud. And the smell of rotting strawberries suddenly fills your nostrils.
All right, boys, time to fucking book it, or else we're all gonna die.
Except we're stood in it, so we probably can't quite book it.
Um. Damn.
Well, I mean, if I realize that I am standing in, is it something that you can get stuck in? Like, is this just like the equivalent of mud as far as terrain?
Yeah, you kind of like lift your boot a little bit, and it kind of sticks to it.
Okay, so it's just like really muddy dirt kind of inconsistency. I mean,
Yeah,
uh,
a little stickier and a little bit less whole, I suppose would be the right word.
more soupy.
Yeah, soup is a good word for it.
Mm.
All right, I'm gonna try and start walking out.
Okay.
Walking backwards to from where once we came.
Give me an athletics.
Oh shit.
Okay. You take a couple of steps back, wardingly, um, and as you do, you see the ground nearby starting to swell.
Um,
Wheel.
I'm gonna stop then.
Fair enough. You stop, and the swelling also stops.
Well, this is quite the predicament.
Hmm.
Um, well, let me see here.
Let me draw this out for you guys. I'm currently setting up the map. Please continue to. Please feel free to continue stating things.
So anybody got any ideas? Because I don't think I have anything useful.
Well, last time the mud started swelling and whatnot, it big monsters appeared out of it.
I mean, I think the
And
mud
seeing,
is the monster. I think we're
One of
just
them,
caught in another one of those things that was hanging on the tree.
well,
the mud
yeah,
golems.
yeah, but I mean, uh, if we're standing in the mud golem, presumably you stop moving. It just doesn't like being stepped on. As I don't think I would like that either. So maybe we just get off the mud golem. I don't know. That's the best idea I get. Just
But where do we go for that, you
hurriedly
know?
try to get. I don't know.
Is the circle where all the spooky mud is?
Yes.
Oh, then I'm just gonna step off the mud.
Yeah, to say it.
You do so. Everyone who's currently still in it, reflex.
Well, I mean, I would also. Well, I'll just.
Let's make
I'm
a
not gonna.
reflex save this.
Freaking roll.
Easy.
Okay, okay.
It's as easy as that, honestly.
Yeah.
That should be one higher, because I assume I have my armor on now, so that's a 33. Just,
33,
just mark that
26,
down.
19. Marv.
Yep.
Reynald and Vincent managed to continue moving if they wish. Do you guys move off?
Yeah.
Okay, they move off. As for you, unfortunately,
Hmm.
um, can you provide for me a fortitude save?
Sure thing.
9. So you take 11 slashing damage. As the moment that they step off, you feel the ground kind of unsettle underneath you, and then suddenly you feel your skin starting to split open.
Alright.
Blood trickles down and splatters on the surface, where it is quickly absorbed and becomes clouds inside this thing.
Can I move though?
No, you are currently ground.
Oh, well. Okay. Well. Suppose I'd like to try and kick this stuff off my legs then and move. If I can.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Kios, give me a forest lore. This is a thing that's sometimes found in forest. They're atypical, which makes it more difficult, but yeah, you know what this is.
It is.
A blood ooze.
Well, that's a charming name. Um,
Things you know about it. It has motion sense, but no vision, and a particularly high stealth. Um,
okay, well,
it has the ability to sustain itself from the blood of those that take bleed damage near it.
all right, I'm immediately gonna tell him don't move.
Alright. I will stop moving altogether. In fact, I will stand so incredibly still that I become invisible to the naked eye.
Give me a second.
Alright. Like I said.
The mound to the west will shift a little. But otherwise, they both stay put. Your blood continues dropping into it, and it quakes lightly with each time that your blood pats onto its surface. You are still currently bleeding.
I need to.
That is 4 bleeding damage.
Gotcha. Well, I don't know the physical capabilities of this thing, but does Mage Hand have I assume if you shove something with it, it can feel itself being shoved by Mage Hand, right?
Yeah, it is a corporeal thing.
Right, I was about to like toss a rock over on like this side and see what happened.
I do have the Mage Hand